YouTube, Shuki and Shinobi here with a review of the Power Rangers Samurai ClawZord, as the toy line is calling it. Claw BattleZord in the show, at least in this form. So this is Antonio's main Zord, or at least his big Megazord-esque thing, I guess. This is technically his main Zord, but whatever. So he revived him from the depths of Zord Hades, and he's now alive and well and acting as Antonio's Zord partner. So, obviously we want to start with the animal mode, but this is how it's packaged, so I wanted to start here. So to transform into the animal mode, you can either fold these out and just let it go and deal with all these screw holes and such like, or you can pop these arms off and flip them around. That's what I do personally, just because it gets rid of the screw holes and everything, and those just look really, really sloppy. So leave them like that for now. Bring down these little feeler leg things. Switch his leg around like so. Pop that in. Take off his tail. Plug that in somewhere back here. There's 2 holes and 2 pegs. And then pop off these giant sword leg things from his back. Plug them together. And then those will plug right in here. And there you have the Samurai ClawZord, otherwise just known as the normal ClawZord, in its little lobster form. He's all like burp, 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 and stuff. So, there was the whole debacle that the ebi origami, since ebi translates as crawfish, shrimp, or lobster, it's anything, it's any kind of shellfish, really. So no one knew what it was exactly. I always went with lobster because it looked like a lobster to me. So evidently they didn't want to have that debacle in America either, so they just called him the ClawZord. So anyway, I really like this mode. It really grew on me owning ebi origami, Daikaioh. It's just, I don't know, something about the originality of having a lobster-esque Zord was really cool. I like the colors, and he's really large too. Even the American version is has quite a bit of heft to it. So if we bring in the Japanese version, as you can see, he has a lot of heft to him. He, unlike the Samurai Megazord, not really shrinking, he shrunk quite a bit. So I mean, obviously you can't see all the details, but as you can see, he retained pretty much everything. This can, as you can see, he's got a curve in his tail. You can still kind of do that here, but it just doesn't really end up working properly. So it ends up being like that. And this doesn't really curve all that much, but you can see, you can still bend him right here. I don't really feel the need to. I think it looks a little bit better when he's just straight, but do what you want in terms of posing for that. But as you can see, he didn't really lose much of anything in the transition, besides he went on a diet. Obviously, he doesn't have these pegs, which you can take the Gold Ranger and just put them on those pegs. You can put the 4-inch scale action figures on there too, by the way. So obviously the Japanese one doesn't have that. And really the only huge noticeable difference that really bothers me is the claws are supposed to be orange, and they casted them in the blue plastic instead of the orange plastic. Don't really know why, but and this lack of gold right here, since he has gold on the face, it's just orange right here. Those are really the only 2 things that bother me about the American release. Other than that, it's an exceptional toy, I think. Obviously, I mean, it doesn't have the chrome that the Japanese one has, but the sticker is still nice and shiny, so no shiny stickers were lost. And obviously, this one doesn't open up to have the disc pop out. just like all the other releases. While this guy could open up in some fashion, I don't remember how exactly. And then this one has electronics. So obviously this one doesn't have electronics because Zords haven't had electronics for quite a while. But other than the lack of electronics, the lack of the removing disc, and a couple paint details, he didn't really lose much of anything, and he's actually a really, really good cheapened up American adaptation. So I'll give him that. He's absolutely fantastic. So to get him into the back into the Megazord mode, fold up those, decapitate him. A lot of the samurai toys involve decapitating your Zords. So set that aside. Flop the arms. Flip them up. Pop off the tail. Flip the feet around. Flip his legs around. And these are very bouncy legs. Because of the way the tail's constructed, these had to be quite a bit of leeway. So he does actually have a little bit of hip articulation. This pops in right back there. On the back here, put this one here. Put this one here. And there we have the BattleZord. This is East mode. And just real quick to get it out of the way, obviously, as you can see, not too much was changed. This color, because this doesn't have to light up, so this is all painted in. The head's not as metallic, and I mean the claws thing is still there, but as you can see, not much of anything has been changed in the American release, and he just does an all-around fantastic job of being his arm fell off, being a great toy. Obviously, just like the Japanese release, this can switch into all 4 of his modes. Obviously, it doesn't have the individual sounds or anything like that, but they're still there, and that's really great. So, this is East mode, his main mode. In this mode, he extends his little lobster claws down, and basically just chomps you to death. And one thing the Japanese release did do that this one doesn't is discs could peg onto this and spin around, but since we don't really use the discs for anything, that feature didn't need to be here, so it's not. So that's his attack. He's all cool and such. In the next mode is bam, South mode. So in South mode, he basically just gets the swords. Nothing else really changes. So these spin around. You can put them in either hand. I prefer the outsides to be the ones with the actual blade. Unlike the Samurai Megazord sword, these are still hollowed out pieces. So I prefer it like that just because it makes some angles a little bit more appealing. But it doesn't really matter. So here is South mode. Cool. Next up is West mode. So pop these off, put them back here. While we're back here, pop the tail off. Like that. Pop that off. There we go. So in West mode, these fold down. I don't know why they fold down in West mode, but he gets a haircut, he goes bald. This will just peg right into his hand, and there we go. There is West mode. He is a battle fan. He can go like this, fan you off when you're hot, or just hit you with it until you die. Either or. So that's pretty cool. And just one thing real quick before I go into the last combination. The modes are north, south, east, and west, the cardinal directions. This had a lot of significance in Japan because of just the way the country's like mythical structures built up. There's a North Guardian, a West Guardian, a South Guardian, and a East Guardian. And the colors played an important part too. So that's why this is set up this way. I don't know why they kept the North, South, East, and West in the American adaptation, because it doesn't really apply to anything here. But hey, what can you do? So that peg's back there, and we get that. So this is the south, or north head rather. And the north combination is a combination between the Claw BattleZord and the OctoZord. So we'll go ahead and pop this off, and then this goes right here on the chest. Right there. And then these flip back up. So well, what happened? Bad things happen to good people. There we go. So now that that's lined up properly. And then the Japanese release, I won't bother getting it out, but the Japanese release, this had a peg sticking out, and it pegged right in, and the spear could be held. However, this release doesn't have anything of the sort. In fact, the back of the box just has it photoshopped right in. The instructions say to have it do this. One little gimmick thing I like to do is lift the legs upwards and then this, and it kind of gives them a sword, which I think is pretty neat, actually. I kind of like this. But there is a way to get him to hold it the right way. So if you fold it down like this, so take this peg right here and get it situated in here. And it's really wonky, and this is completely makeshift. This isn't official in the slightest. But takes a little bit of effort. And there you go. Like I said, it takes a lot of effort to get everything balanced out properly. But he can hold it okay. It's kind of wiggly and has the potential to fall out at any moment. But if you can set it up for display purposes, it's not too bad at all. The fact that they didn't just put the peg in there to have him hold it is really dropping the ball. Especially considering the box shows it like this. So that is really, really kind of dumb on their part. I don't know why they decided to do it like that. I do like the sword thing that I figured out, though. I kind of like that a little more than this, actually, but I guess that's because I thought of it, even though I probably wasn't the first one to think of it. But anyway, thanks to this for Waylonk28 for posting the video in which he showed that, and then Wiley Jaco for sending it to me. So thank you to them for that. And yeah, this is the North form. He does nothing of any interesting value. So we will go ahead and move it along to the last combination, which is currently unnamed because it hasn't actually appeared in the show yet. But, spoiler alert, it is the combination of the Claw BattleZord and the Samurai Megazord. So let's strip Octo here. Set him aside. And what we're going to do is basically, for the most part, just kind of let him be for now. We'll bring in the Samurai Megazord and let him be as well. Pull off his legs, as horrifying as that sounds. Pull off his legs. Pull off his tail. And split that section as well. Basically dismantle his entire being. Poor thing. Pop the sword pieces off. This will flip down. As you can see, it is a new head. These fold upwards. These fold back. Just like so. This is going to peg in right here, right on his chest. Meanwhile, back here at the Samurai Megazord camp, pop off the helmet, stick it in the dragon. This entire section will fold on the head. Will flip backwards, just like so. And then these will go down like that. Line up these so that the gold pieces are facing outwards, and then the silver pieces are facing outwards. Then pop the dragon back in. Same thing with the other leg. There it is. I lost it. Pop that in. Flip it around. Pop the bear back in. Flip these around so the orange side's facing up. And then watch as everything collapses in front of you. This is why you do everything with two hands, folks. So fold that in. Repeg everything into place. The ports of the Samurai Megazord plugging into the ports of the ClawZord's legs isn't that tight. It's very wiggly and loose. I don't know why, because all the other joints on these things are incredibly tight. But anyway, this will just kind of wedge its way into the lion. I guess that is correct. Yes, it is. So that's all nice and situated. Take the head. I'll have to go up. Take the new head, and then this will just, there's obviously a bunch of pegs all sorted here. And they will peg their way in to the containment area up there. And you have some extra pieces, which I'll get to shortly. But you have the Samurai, no, it's not the Samurai Claw Megazord, it's the Ultimate Samurai Megazord, maybe? I don't know, there's no name yet. We're still in the summer hiatus as of this recording. So, obviously, the problem with this is that he has these very stumpy arms. And that is retained from the Japanese version. In fact, the only major difference between this one and the Japanese version is really just the size. Obviously, there are some differences in detail, but it's pretty much just the same things that were different with the ClawZord. The color of the claws there, obviously just the height, the orange color is a tad bit different. And the lack of chrome, but really that is about it. Now, the major thing here is that because of the lack of origami function, the backs are quite a bit different. So, this is all fine in this region here, but here's where our problem lies. These don't fold up into the emblem modes like this. As you can see here, the ape is all folded up and holding the back swords, which is still perfectly possible here. Just fold those up and plop into the arm, and then this is going to have to rotate around and plop that into the arm. So that's perfectly still there and perfectly functioning. However, because they don't fold up, they look like he has extra arms on his back, as opposed to some sort of like back armament. I mean, it's not a huge deal, really. In fact, it looks a lot less of importance in person. But there's still the whole thing about the fact that he has 4 arms. In fact, if you wanted to, you could slide these out, bring these around, and then it actually does look like he has 4 arms. So if you want to turn them into forearms from Ben 10, you can in this figure. But officially they're hanging out back here doing the same thing that they did. It just looks a lot weirder from the back. So that aside, nothing is really too different about this formation. It actually feels a little bit more solid than the Japanese release. The plug system that they included in here holds together a lot better. The Japanese one, it never fell apart on me, but it always feels like if you pick it up and you don't two-hand it, that it'll go and just collapse upon itself. So yeah, that's really about it for this mode. There's are a couple things you can do. You can spread these around up and pretend his swords are like little shoulder cannons or something. You can't see that, but you can do that. In fact, that actually looks pretty cool. So I approve of that quite a bit. Another thing that you can do is bring the lobster claws out and then do that. That makes it look a little bit better just because his arms are so stumpy. But do what you want. This thing actually has quite a bit of playability because you can kind of position those however you want to. And everything kind of looks a-okay. So the ClawZord as a whole. The ClawZord as a whole, I think, is one of the better Samurai releases. If not, it's probably the best Samurai release in terms of sticking to the Shinkenja counterpart. It's a fun toy. The ClawZord form is very interesting, and really quite fun to look at. And then when you transform it into the Claw BattleZord, it has all four of the formations, or well, three of the formations, four if you have the OctoZord. And then it has compatibility with the Samurai Megazord if you have that too. So really, all in all, you can't really go too wrong with the ClawZord release. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job of sticking to their guns, and all in all, I think it's an absolutely great toy. A great substitute for Daikaioh if you don't have the funds to pick him up, or you just can't find him. And then, really, I mean, if you only have the Samurai Megazord, if you haven't gotten the 4 auxiliaries, you don't really need to. Just pick up the Samurai Megazord, pick up the ClawZord. You can combine these two and have their ultimate, at least for now, formation. So, I do like that aspect, too, that you only really need to buy the 2 things to get a pretty cool combination, all things considered. So, I like this. I definitely give ClawZord my 2 weirdly shaped thumbs up. And really great release by Bandai. So, props to you for doing a really good job on something. So you can check out a written review at theridersrangerambles.com, bringing the latest token news in the craziest way possible. And of course, you can discuss Samurai, the toy line, and anything else at the RAM boards at ridersrangerambles.com/forum. So take care, have a great one, bye.